More next tomorrow.
So also right now, see, of course this is like spiritual advice from a barbarian lunatic. But sometimes we just have to deal with very worldly matters. But still the spiritual is always there. I mean, as soon as I close my eyes, there's stuff happening. That sometimes makes me shake my head because I think, what the fuck is going on? Like tonight, last night or whatever, I was just dreaming. I was dreaming something. And I'm trying to figure out what that meant. And yesterday, for example, my topic was the jury. Somehow I stumbled across a movie that I wanted to watch. It was called The Jury. It's about a case where a man kills two men that raped his daughter. Of course, there's then topics like race and stuff involved. And it kind of pissed me off. Because first of all, I mean that sorry, I don't want to say that. That man, it's just a man, right? It's just a man. I don't give a fuck what his color is. Just a man. And all men are created equal. We should stop pointing out what skin color somebody has, right? So, he was just a man. And these other two men that raped his daughter were also two men. And he shot them. And now he's in jail, trying to get out of it. And that's what I dislike about juries, right? I mean, you can say all these fancy words, and then you have all these rules in this system, but if you know them well enough, you can wiggle through them like a sneaky little worm. And of course, that's what gives us the kind of freedom that we need in order maybe to feel free. But that just makes it also very, I mean, that just shows how much of a lie it is. Because you can be a very good liar in a system of lies, and then you can use that for yourself. And then you can be a judge or, a lawyer, and you basically make it your job to use the rules of the system to get people who kill others out of jail. And the problem I have with this is also how it's displayed in the movie. So you have that guy who kills two people and now he sits in jail. And now he's like worried about being in jail or being put to death or something. Have the death sentence passed on him. And then I'm just thinking, you could have known that before, right? I mean, weren't you aware of what you were doing? Didn't you think this through a bit? Of course, sometimes we are a bit unaware of what we're doing. But in that case specifically, it was quite obvious, wasn't it? I mean, if you kill two people, you're gonna get in trouble. I mean, if I project that onto myself, of course, I can say, well, I'm just talking. I mean, I don't go and, I don't set fire to things. And I don't go and I don't punch people or beat up people. But yet, what's happening nowadays is, and also what's happening in courts, all over the world, as soon as you say something, people just start jumping on your back like, why did you say that? It's just words. I mean, I'm not really doing anything. Why are people so easily offended by words? Because we take everything personal. And of course, the reason we take everything personal is because, first of all, everybody does. And we are kind of everybody in the collective victim role. And maybe that's because of some world war that happened or whatever. Everybody's acting like they're terribly in pain and hurt. And maybe they are, but weird thing is, they're not always, right? So if they would always be like this, you know, I could buy it. But if you're not always like this, then it's just an act that you put up when other people are around. Because I'm sure when you're alone in your room, you're a bit different. And then you've got people like me who feel bad for these people. Whereas, you know, when these people are alone, they're just having a, like, I don't know, a ball or something. So yeah, weird night. Like somehow recently my dreams are intertwined with images from Africa. And so this, for example, I mean, this has been released already. The crocodile. The crocodile came into it. And then this I haven't really done yet. The funny thing is, when I drew this, I hated it. And now I look at it, I think, nice, man. So sometimes you shouldn't judge your own, that's where we get back to the judging, because I sometimes judge myself really harshly for doing certain things or not doing certain things. So I judge myself also on behalf of the behavior of others towards me. And that's a tough one to deal with. It's really a tough one to deal with. Because other people have their own problems and they project these problems onto me. And I take them and I say, okay, then I'm to blame. It's like with that last woman that I had a relationship with, which I'm still like really holding on to, and I don't know why. Like I'm really clinging to this because something inside of me really wants it to be her. And it was special to me. And I also tried reaching out and stuff, and now I just stopped. I still, like, in my content, I sometimes talk about her. But I just think, right, if she doesn't want to be with me for one reason or other, then it's her problem. But then I find myself constantly blaming myself for it. Like I'm constantly blaming myself for her not wanting to be with me because I think it's my fault. And then I forget that it's not my fault, it's her choice. And that's a different story. Because often it's not your fault, it's their choice. It's because they choose to hold on to their resentment towards you, or they hold on to like projecting their resentment to a specific circumstance onto you. And I've had this with women more often, that they're angry at you, they don't even know why. The reason they're angry maybe, for example, because they've been left by their father, and they project that feeling onto you. And you try to love them, you try to be in a relationship with them, but as soon as you do this one thing, you know, they just say, that's it, you know, we can never have a romantic relationship again. Because on the inside, there's still that scared little girl that was left by their father, and as such, they're constantly afraid that this will happen again. So they contribute to it by pushing you away. Because if they push you away first, you can't leave them. You know, that's the way you think. I mean, I know how it feels like because I've done the same. At a certain point, I just started pushing people out just so that they couldn't push me out first. And I haven't found anyone yet that would stay with me. I haven't found anyone yet, you know, that put their own bullshit aside for a second and allowed me to have my bullshit. Just for a second, right? That's all I would need to do. Allow me to have my own bullshit and to accept it and to love me anyway. Nobody seems to be capable of doing this. So they all just, you know, run away and never contact me again. And the only people that come back are the ones that I don't want. And that's the crazy part, right? I mean, people contacting you and you think, why the fuck do you come back to me? Like, seriously, why the fuck do you have to come back to me? I don't want you. And suddenly they're there. And of course, talking about judging, right? I mean, but then it just makes me realize, you know, this is over. I don't want it anymore. But there are other things where I think I would open up to it. And that's why at the moment, especially with men, there are certain men where I just say, fuck off. Like, I don't want you anymore. But also certain types of women, depending on how the woman comes to me. And that's why, yes, I feel very bad that this woman is not in my life anymore, because I also helped create that situation. But the reason I did that, and it's good to remind yourself why you acted in a certain way, how you felt. And if somebody wants to be a part in your life, it is their job to understand why you felt that way. To feel empathic, you know, oh, that's, you know, so you can step out of your own victim role and acknowledge the fact that other people also have problems and feelings and emotions and bad times and good times. And then you come with your problems to a person, like that's what happened, that just worked himself out of a fucking deep depression. And he did so by working like he works. And that person comes and leeches off his good mood. And then when he tries to like open up a bit and says, you know, okay, surely this means we're gonna get back together. And then this other person says something like, oh, that doesn't mean we're ever gonna have a romantic relationship again. And then you realize, I've been there before. I've already had a woman say that to me.
We're never going to have a romantic relationship again.
And then a second woman says that. And then I realize, holy shit, what am I doing? I'm constantly running after women that clearly don't want it. Because that has to be clear. The woman has to choose you. If she doesn't do that, you can run after her. And she can say, oh, I don't, you know, oh, please chase me, right? So you just say, fuck off. And if she's really the right one, because I know what I have to give, and I have to remind myself of this constantly, through looking at what I did already, through looking at, you know, what I do during the day that I like to, you know, give people things. You know, just like attention or something. In the way that I can, of course. But so I reflect onto myself and I work with these things that people blame me for, and I realize actually I'm quite okay the way I am. So if people all around me hate me for who I am, then it must be something wrong with them. Because I'm not really doing anything that's terribly bad. Like, I'm not going around punching people in the faces, you know, I don't crap on people's pillows or something, no. I offer them food and a smile, and if they don't want that, sometimes I get a bit, you know, I show them a different side. And then they can have a reason to be mad at me. But still, I never really do anything bad, it's just words, and people are so offended that it's enough to push them out. But then you're supposed to take all their nonsense. So in the moment she said that, I just flipped, and it was good of me to flip, because it just showed me I don't want people like this in my life anymore. You know, that just keep me at a distance and I'm trying to rile them in. So I rather, you know, give them the message, you know, if you're not sure that I'm it, then fuck off. And that's what I did. And then of course at some points, you know, I feel like I miss something, whereas what I'm missing is actually a feeling in myself and not this person. I just project that feeling onto a person and then I miss that person, instead of realizing if I just find the thing that I love about myself that I want her to give me, I'm actually quite fine. And that's why yesterday I just went to bed. And that was the best thing I could do, because sometimes it's just good to just chill. And sometimes, you know, chilling doesn't mean watching movies or reading books or continuing to be awake, because that's just a distraction. Sometimes all you have to do is just get a good night's rest. And if you can't do that, then maybe in these moments sometimes it helps to masturbate. Or maybe, you know, if you have the energy, then you should work. Like, start drawing, right? I mean, you just take this and then you just start. Like I just started, and you just start drawing a line, and then you see, for example, I drew it like this. It started from here, and right? And then in the end, I thought, oh, this looks a bit like a bird, because I've drawn these before, so I recognized the shape, and then I just made a face into it, and I thought, here, this looks a bit like an eye. Right? So I just draw lines, and then I try to envision, you know, I try to have a look what I see in there. And now I see, you know, I'm like really like, ooh, maybe I should drink another one.